Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, the black and gold standard for Pittsburgh Steelers coverage. Now, here's your host, Terry Fletcher.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Steel City Underground podcast. My name is Terry Fletcher. So I'm coming to you today from Southern California, and we have a hot one today. It's at least 90 degrees outside, so I'm kind of happy to be in air conditioning, just coming to you and podcasting. And this is one of my segments where we're talking about Steeler bars across the country. And we've been all across the country, from LA to Southern California, where I'm at, to Florida, and we even took a little stop, different places on the East Coast, so Boston, and we just want to make sure that we're kind of covering the area. And since we're coming into now Steelers camp, which has been this past weekend, we want to make sure that we kind of hit some spots and also then wind it down, and we'll probably bring one of these to you during the season that we stumble upon. But we also want to make sure that we're giving you places not only that we've gotten from fans, but also that we might have visited. I mean, it's better if we've visited the place, and that way we can have firsthand knowledge of what's going on. So today, I was actually kind of going back and forth between Chicago, believe it or not, there are Steeler bars there, and Philadelphia, which I actually thought would be funny because I've been to one there, and then actually I've been to this other one. It's been a couple of years, but from what I hear, it's still great. And so I have been there, just been a couple of years. And then the other one was a referral I got, or a DM, just direct message I got on Twitter from one of our listeners, which we appreciate that. And so we have 3 today, and we're going to actually go to Philly. And we might revisit Chicago later in the year, but I thought this would be kind of cool just because of all the hype and the Super Bowl champions. So we know that there's across the pond little angst there. And then next week, Joe and I are going to come together to finish up the segment and actually tell you about Pittsburgh bars. Now, I know most of you may have known that, since a lot of you Yinsers, you like to call yourselves in Pittsburgh, know where to go. But, you know, I would not know if I don't have a ticket. And so if those of you that don't actually get to a game, but you want to watch it with Steeler Nation, we thought that would be a fun thing. And won't be just the Primanti brothers, even though we love them, or the usual, the Bettis, steakhouse. We want to show you some things that maybe you didn't know about. So that will be our final segment next week. But for right now, let's get into Philadelphia. So one of the places that I really like, and it's kind of funny because you walk in and you're like, Terry, this is an Eagles bar. Well, this place is kind of an Eagles bar. Well, okay, I'll be honest. It's kind of very much an Eagles bar, but they have a Pittsburgh section, which I thought was really cool. And I had walked in when my Pittsburgh Steelers cover up, I have a pullover sweatshirt, and it was cold in the time of the year. And I was like, okay, this is green. A lot of people are green here, and I'm going to be so out of place. And all of a sudden I saw some terrible towels waving in the corner, and there was a whole section of black and gold. And they're like, come over, come over. So I was like, this is cool. This place is called Chicky and Pete's, and it is awesome. It's on Packer Avenue in Philly. When I was there, actually, Fox 29 News had stopped by to film what was going on. And it was a Monday night football game, so it was really late. But I needed to get out of my hotels because I was out there teaching, so that was kind of fun. But they have the strangest menu. And so let me just tell you what they have. They've got something called crinkle cut crab fries, which are a big hit. I guess it's the only place you can get crab fries. I really didn't know what that meant to start off. I thought it was just crinkle cut fries with maybe a weird spice on them. But basically, it's got like an essence of like seafood, and they taste like crab. So those are cool. Those are the bomb. And then they have crab leg sundae, which is pretty cool. And then they have pizza, and they call it pizza. Get it? P-E-T-E. So, the guy Pete that's there, Chicky and Pete's. Okay. I know. What can you say? Everybody likes to be fun. And then they have different kinds of nachos. So traditionally, nachos would be, your chips and your meat and your jalapenos and your cheese and all that. They have snow crab nachos, and I'm telling you guys, you have to get these. They are amazing. I actually thought it was like blue crab because it was so good. Oh my gosh, so good. And then I was like, okay, I'm never getting anything else. And then somebody sitting next to me said, I actually need you to try this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is that? And they're like, this is a Philly cheesesteak nacho. So somebody had a Philly cheesesteak, and you're really going to get full there because you just want to try everything. And their Philly cheesesteak is pretty good. Not the best I've ever had, but it's pretty good. And so actually the best I ever had was in Vegas at a place called Capriati's, but that's for another time. But anyway, the Philly cheesesteak nachos, oh my goodness, those were so good. So in the words of Guy Fieri on Triple D, those were the bomb and those were out of bounds. So you have to try those. They also have something called a French fry eating contest with their crab fries 2 times a year. So I thought that was kind of cool. Their wings are good. So it's a lot of bar food, but just they have such a twist on it. It's just amazing. And then also they have what they call Tito drinks, which are mixed drinks, like Long Island iced teas and Mai Tais and things like that. And on specials, those run $4 or when the owner's in a really good mood. And that usually means that Philly's winning or the Steelers is the only game on and they're winning. So, and that's actually one of the things that they have a motto about, that if there is an Eagles game on, then that's what you're going to see on the big screen TV. But if they're at different times and they're not playing on the same time, which is not often, but sometimes it happens, then they'll switch it over to Steelers. So, it helps that they're not in the same division or even in the same conference. So it's just funny because it does go back and forth. When you walk in, though, you'll think definitely Eagles, but then you'll see there's an essence of Steelers. How about that? Now, here's the thing. Somebody said to me, we have our kids with us on Sunday. They're also, football fans. What can we do? Well, if you just want to go, and I'm trying to say I want to shout out to the ladies, if you just feel like going to get dessert, but I mean, many dessert, right? You guys like ice cream. They have a couple of things that are just really awesome. So one is the lemon blackberry ice cream cake with Nilla wafers. It's like one of those tall, huge cakes that people bring to your table and you're like, really? And the other one is the cookies and cream ice cream cake. That one's really good too. The house-made donut holes with dipping sauces, you can get those to go, just saying. And so we had to do that when we went back to the hotel. So, and you just waddle out. You don't even think you're getting out of there with, being able to walk out. But also their Oktoberfest beers, pretty nice tap. So they've got some really good things there. So I hope you find that to be helpful. That one's a great one. Then the next one is Fox and Hound. So this is a Philly sports bar in the heart of Eagles country, but it's black and gold all the way. So this is definitely Steelers. It's on Spruce Street in Philly. The atmosphere is all Steelers. The beer's cheap. It's really like being on the north side of Pittsburgh. And they have some decent barbecue. Somebody had said to me, and I have not been to this one, but one of the referrals I got, one of the guys on the Steel City Underground was listening. He sent me a really nice direct message and gave us a nice comment on our last one. We went to Boston and Baltimore. And he basically said, yeah, you got to try this place. He goes, this is pretty good. And the thing I like about this place too is that if you bring in a terrible towel on a certain Sunday, that if they start at, well, I say if they start at 10, the 1 o'clock game, that's early in the East Coast. I always forget that. Joe gets on me, our fearless leader. He's like, early games for us are 1 o'clock. Say it with me, 1 o'clock. I'm like, early is 10, or 6 o'clock if you're in London. But if you come in with a terrible towel, they'll give you $2 off an appetizer. So that's kind of fun. So that place is great. And then our third and final installment, and you'll notice that I'm probably going to be a little bit short today on our time, but hopefully you'll find this just to be a quick hit when we talk about where we're going in the country. The third one is called O'Neill's Irish Pub. It's on 3rd Street in Philly. It's really cool because it's one of those, I don't like to call it a hole in the wall because it's actually kind of upscale hole in the wall if you get that. But if you've ever walked down New Orleans in the French Quarter, it reminds me of that kind of vibe. So you're basically, or if you've ever seen the Donnie Wahlberg movie, when you're talking about, God, I can't believe it's one of my favorite movies, and I can't even think of the name of it. It'll come to me. But when you see, walking down kind of the back streets of Philly, and you see like a bar here and there, that's what that is. And so it's that kind of cool Irish vibe. Very green inside, but it's green because of it's Irish, not necessarily because it's kind of Philly. But they're very much all about football. They do Philly and Steelers games, and you can see about half and half in the crowd there. So I wouldn't say that it's all one or all the other. They're known for their fish and chips and a huge portion. Everything else is pretty good. I've heard that the burgers are decent. The wings, definitely typical bar food. but they're definitely known for their huge portion fish and chips. And then also their Guinness beer. And so I saw somebody order a half and half, which is half Stella and half Guinness. And so I thought that was interesting. I don't particularly like dark beer, but I do like a light, really nice, good beer and kind of a sometimes an ale, a pale ale. And so I noticed that they did have some good things there. And one of the things that's nice about this one, in Southern California, we have a lot of Philly, or I should say Irish pubs. We have a few of them, and they're very dark inside. This one is dim, but you could still see what you're doing in there, so it's not too bad. So it's definitely worth, kind of getting in there and figuring it out. So that's O'Neill's, and that's on 3rd Street in Philly. So again, just to recap, Chicky and Pete's, which is, again, on Packer Avenue in Philly, and they're probably the first choice, I would say, to go to. And then you've got Fox and Hound, and so they're on Spruce Street in Philly. And then we've got O'Neill's, which is 3rd Street in Philly. And so just some cool Irish vibe, and it's just awesome. I just really like it. And actually, Chicky and Pete's, even though it says Philly, it's really what they call Sharon Hills or Sharon Township. So just know that. But that place is crazy too. So it's really packed, and kind of sometimes it goes around the block. So we really appreciate you kind of listening to us and finding some of these different gems. And we're pretty excited about the season to get started. Training camp has started. I know we've had some bumps and bruises along the way. And so I just wrote an article on Ramon Foster's injury, where he'll be out a couple of weeks. They say 4 weeks. I really believe he'll be back sooner. He's just got probably a stinger when you hyperextend your knee. So make sure you read up on that. And also, Joe and Zach and Brian, they've all got together and really pulled together a lot of things on training camp. They actually all kind of got to attend, and so that was really fun. And then also Tina, she gets in there and just really makes us look good in what she's editing for us. So everybody, please keep reading, please keep listening, and make it a great day. And we're really happy that the season is starting. So here we go. Go Steelers.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.